Okay, so we're playing in the Zoom poll. What are very common leaks? Poll like this. Lack of aggression in certain lines. So how do we exploit it? Start overfolding as we are proven otherwise. If we do see someone making a creative bluff, I'm gonna give them a note and then we're gonna defend the normal ranges against them. And of course, in general, we can just overfold against the population here. When you start overfolding, it can be expensive against someone who's very balanced, but in a pool like this, it's probably better to lean to the tighter side and then start doing stuff whenever people prove something. The most important thing is that you know what the baseline is and then you can make an exploit. So people who are of an exploitative style, but they don't know about what the GTO line should be, they're basically always full of shit, because you can only make an exploit if you do know the baseline. Okay, weaker checking ranges. Now we exploit this. More aggression versus capped checking ranges, which is very important. So I'm saying capped checking ranges because, of course, if you open the button and the big blind calls and he checks on the flop, this is not really a capped checking range. He's checking 100% of his range here, or at least something along those lines. So once we start seeing people checking and then just leading with value and then checking with their air, we can start exploiting it pretty heavily. Too tight, free, only slightly. Counter that by opening more and 3-betting a bit less. Position is power. The deeper we are, the more important position becomes. What was your biggest aha moment when Monker came out in terms of strats that you thought was good but that the solver proved was not? The biggest aha moment was when you're in position. There's two things in position. When betting in position, we want to have either a very strong hand or very weak hand, polarized. And then another one was the strength of calling in position versus getting your money in just to finish the hand. Because this is the way I should put it. So oftentimes we're facing a big bet and we're sitting in position, and in our head we're thinking, okay, well, this feels very uncomfortable and kind of want this moment to be over. So we decide to just jam it in and make the decision easier, which is probably the worst thing you can do, because firstly, you're taking away your positional advantage, and secondly, the position for the other player, which is out of position and facing a call against a very big bet, is way worse than your position. So becoming comfortable with calling in position instead of just jamming your hand in to finish the hand or to be over with it is one of the other ones. Of course, Monker is very comfortable calling because Monker exactly knows how to navigate all the rivers. We don't as humans, but still feels uncomfortable, but it's easier than you would think. Bluffing with a pot bet on the river allows us to have a bluff 1/3 of the time. So, little strategy talk. If we're pot betting on the river, our opponent has to call the pot bet and be right 1 out of 3 times there. So we're trying to make a call break even, so we need value twice and bluff once there. If we bet 1/3, he only has to be right 1 out of 5 times. So bluffing small seems very attractive because you get a good price on your bluff, but if you're up against good players, it's going to be a big problem. If you keep bluffing small, they'll pick up on it and they'll start calling you super wide.